Let's talk about a natural antibiotic drink that you can make at home that is really powerful, non-toxic, and you want to take this at the first sign of a cold or the flu. But let's first step back for a moment and just take a look at the big picture. Couple very important things about antibiotics. Number one, they only kill bacteria. They do not kill viruses. So if you have a viral infection, it's not going to work. And the problem with that is there is a big over prescription of antibiotics, especially in the US. But when you take an antibiotic that you don't need over time, it can start building up this resistance. So the antibiotic kills a good portion of the good microbes, but the ones that don't die become stronger. They become more resistant. They start becoming pathogenic. So now the next time you take an antibiotic, it doesn't work anymore. And realize this too, in your microbes, if you're only going to kill the antibiotic off and you're not going to kill the candida or the yeast or other microbes that are in your microbiome, now we just threw things off. So in other words, these bacteria were there to keep other things in check, like the yeast and the candida. This is why one of the big side effects of an antibiotic is an overgrowth of candida or yeast.
There are two types of antibiotics.
There's antibiotics that are not as strong. They kind of slow down the growth of microbial reproduction. And those are usually like penicillin or tetracycline. Now, other types of antibiotics like Cipro or Levaquin, those are more powerful. They have like a black box warning on them because they create side effects, like they can rupture your tendinitis. Yeah, not good. And if you ever have to take those antibiotics, always make sure you take 3 things with them: magnesium, also vitamin E, and probiotics. But for any antibiotics that you take from the doctor, make sure you always take a probiotic at the same time. Antibiotics have been around for a very, very long time, but they weren't necessarily called antibiotics back then. They were just taken by some bit of wisdom. I mean, even like 1,000 years ago, they found in this Nubian mummy significant amounts of tetracycline. Where did that come from? Antibiotics naturally come from molds and other microorganisms in the soil. I mean, even like there's antibiotics in like the mold in bread. So I think there's a lot of wisdom in the past as far as us taking natural remedies for various things. So who knows how that culture got that tetracycline, but you know, it's been there for 1,000 years. Now, the other important thing to know about antibiotics is that after taking them, it could take weeks to years before you get back these original microbes. I believe 80% of your immune system is your microbiome. But what I'm going to recommend in this video is to tap into and borrow from herbs, the natural antibiotic chemicals that these plants have developed over eons. You can actually use them like anti-inflammatory effects, antimicrobial effects, anti-diabetic effects, anti-cancer effects. I mean, even like garlic, for example, has like 33 different sulfur antibiotic chemicals. Now, if you compare that to like penicillin, which only has 1, you can see very quickly that your microbiome, it's going to be easy for them to wipe out that one antibiotic. It's going to be more difficult to wipe out the complex group of antibiotics in garlic. In fact, it's not going to happen. Right now, they're actually testing and researching using some of these natural antibiotics that don't create this resistance to microbes on bacteria that have resistance to, antibiotics. So we're borrowing these complex chemicals that have virtually no side effects, and we're going to use them to our advantage. 2 quick points before I dive into the actual recipe. Number 1, if you get a fever, don't try to automatically suppress the fever because you're going to increase the duration of the infection. A better solution would be to dress up really warm, bundle up, and have all these blankets on you when you're in bed after maybe you took a hot shower, and just start sweating to actually increase the temperature to cook off these microbes, both bacteria and viruses. The second thing is stress. Okay, stress, cortisol, paralyzes the immune system. Your white blood cells go down. They become suppressed. So I've noticed this in practice with virtually almost 100% of the people coming in that had an infection. they always had a stress event that occurred right before that made them susceptible to getting the infection. So just realize that and do what you can to keep that stress at a minimum, especially if you're getting run down. So this particular drink should be taken at the first sign of a cough, the first sign of you start sneezing excessively or like a tickle in your throat. Start this, okay? Because you can actually stop it in its tracks so you don't have to go through 10 days of infection. So the first thing is garlic. You're going to take 3 cloves of garlic, okay? And you're going to put those in the blender. Garlic has, like I said before, 33 different sulfur compounds that have antimicrobial properties. The cool thing about garlic, it's very antiviral. Then we're going to use echinacea. The cool thing about echinacea is that it works really good to stop the start of an infection. And it's really good for strep and staph and sore throat stuff and other pathogens as well. And you want to consume a good amount of it. So I'm going to recommend in this 1 16-ounce drink using 90 drops, okay? Now, some people just use 30 drops in some water every hour. 90 is not excessive. So we're going to take these 90 drops, put it into the blender. And the cool thing about echinacea, it'll kind of numb your throat if you have a sore throat. The next thing is you're going to throw a whole organic lemon in it, okay? Don't just use the juice. Don't use lemon juice. Use the whole lemon. What's in a lemon? Vitamin C. There's some other things in the lemon too. The lemon peel. You have all these essential oils that have antimicrobial properties. There's antimicrobial properties in the seeds. So you're going to blend all that and you're going to consume it. Now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I like the Fairchild's. I don't like the Bragg's because the Fairchild's is more concentrated. The Bragg's adds water to dilute it. Anyway, you're going to take this apple cider vinegar. You're going to put a tablespoon in there. And the apple cider vinegar is going to act as an acid to stimulate something called the phagocytosis, which is the immune system's cleaning action of certain cells. It's going to stimulate those, get those guys in action, and start cleaning mucus and other things involved, like especially pathogens. Then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of raw honey, okay? You can also use Manuka honey. So with the raw honey, you're going to have all these enzymes. You're going to have these plant-based chemicals from a wide range of flowers. I mean, if you think about it, raw honey was the first antibiotic. It has antibiotic properties unless you heat it and pasteurize it. There's some really interesting things in raw honey. You have hydrogen peroxide, which can act as an antiseptic. And the pH of it is slightly lower, so it's kind of acidic. Then you're going to add 16 ounces of water. Okay, you're going to blend it up for about 45 seconds. And you're going to drink 1/3 of that, okay? And then put the rest in the refrigerator. And then wait for several hours and then do the next dosage, right? Because you're going to take 1/3 3 times in one day. And then after the second dosage, you'll take the last a little bit later in the evening. Now, what you should notice is a diminishing of the symptoms. You should feel better. You should sleep better. You may want to do this a second day or a third day. And if you're in the middle of an infection, I would recommend to do this throughout the entire infection because it'll actually speed up the process of you recovering. Do not forget to take 50,000 IUs of vitamin D3, of kind of a quick boost to your immune system because vitamin D3 is awesome for the immune system. Every part of your immune system needs vitamin D3. I would also add some zinc in there, maybe 100 to 150 milligrams to get your system all geared up to fight off this thing a little bit better. And so just give yourself time to allow yourself to go through this cycle. And if you do these things, it'll be faster than if you didn't. Now, if you haven't seen my other really popular video on the antibiotic drink, I put that up right here. Check it out.